It is the 11th race of the season, and after tonight, we are gonna have one final race for the RCOM Pepsi Amateur Series. And the 11th race of the season is home to the Martinsville Speedway. One final short track race of the year, and then it's on to the mile and a half of Chicago. The points battle is really starting to get good here, and it's starting to get tight as well, especially with all the circumstances that happened at Las Vegas with a caution-free race. And with that, I mean, some drivers, some of our championship contenders didn't qualify all that well, so they some of them were mid-pack, whereas somebody like Addison Jarrell was up at the front throughout most of the race. And the good news is for her, she never looked back after she took the lead with about 5 laps to go, and went on to take the victory for her first win of the season, and making her just barely the new points leader. And as you can see, we had ourselves a little bit of a mishap when it came to qualifying, because talking real talk here, when I tried to just hit qualifying just so that way all the cars would be randomized all throughout the field, Martinsville qualifying does not do that for some reason, so all the drivers will be starting in numerical order. But as far as some of our championship contenders there, you see on the bottom of your screen, that's Tyler Ferris and Ryan Fowler, and then you also have Addison Jarrell back here. So a lot of our point chasers are going to have some work cut out for them, as some of them are starting in the back. Alrighty folks, so here's a look at your point standings coming into race number 11 here at Martinsville. It is Addison Jarrell, our winner from Las Vegas back on September 10th. She's your points leader by 1 point. By 1 point over Tyler Ferris, who is in second in the standings. Ryan Fowler is third, just 10 points back. Then it's Carter Joey fourth, David Byers fifth, Hogan 6th, Shauna Martin 7th, Bronson Minnick 8th, Easton Myers 9th, Mitchell Collins completing the top 10. And out of all the drivers that are inside of the top 10, 6 of them are winners. So, I mean, really though, I mean, some of our most dominant drivers right now in points are either have a win in the books, or they have multiple wins in the books. The only one that has 2 wins this year already is Tyler Ferris, so we'll just have to wait and see if he can work his way up to the front to make it win number 3 here at Martinsville. Alrighty folks, I think I've said what I need to. I'm just going to hold my peace for this segment of the show. The drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up, but in order to get these 34 drivers rolling off, we got to get the command to fire the engines.
Drivers, start your engines!
Engines are fired. Pace cars rolling off at this time, and as these 34 drivers roll out for their pace laps, here's your starting lineup for the Kroger 200. Drivers have just taken one to go, and they're going to be wasting no time. Pace car is on pit road this time. It is Quentin Moore and David Byers on the front row. Then it's House, Alexander, Wilderotter, and Kidd making up the top 6. Here they come off of turn number 4, race number 11. The second to last race of the season is green here in Martinsville. And Quentin Moore making it way wide. Byers in the wall. Perhaps a little bit too wide for David Byers. He had just slapped the wall hard. And coming off of 4, it looks like Quentin Moore has already led the first lap, and he has. Steven Alexander up on the top side. Byers just barely got away with not slapping the wall this time around, but he's got some heavy right side damage right off the bat. But as some racing legends used to say, If you have damage on the right side, if your right side's beat up, you're racing people. If your left side is damaged, you're just in the way. So right now, David Byers falls back to 8th after starting outside pole in this race. And he's going to lose another position here to Kyler Anderson. Anderson now moves up into the 7th position. Byers still in 8th. He might lose another position to Stephen Wallace Jr., who has been doing absolutely not the best in the point standings at all. Comes in 32nd in the standings. So if he were to stay right where he's at, it would be a really good points day, really good points night here at Martinsville, and try to have a really good, strong finish to end the season off on a high note. I mean, that's definitely what Stephen Wallace Jr. has been trying to get throughout this entire season. Just been trying to get a break in that number 9 machine, but just a break hasn't really come for him throughout this year. But meanwhile, up front, it is still Quentin Moore leading the charge. Quentin Moore comes into this race 22nd in the standings. After having himself a terrible start to the season, he managed to get some momentum on his side after his controversial performance at Talladega, after he took out 2 drivers, which caused huge crashes, one of them involving Allison Rain flipping on the front straightaway. Quentin Moore finished 3rd in that race. He ended up getting some top 5s, some top 10s, and even some top 10s throughout the season. But Quentin Moore leading the charge here at Martinsville and hoping to secure a win before the year is done and over with. Ronald House, another good performance for him so far. Running in the 2nd position. He finished top 5 back at Vegas on September 10th. So looking to capitalize and finishing top 5 yet again. Comes into this race 15th on the charts. So right now your top 10 looks like this. Quentin Moore the leader. Then it's Ronald House 2nd, Stephen Alexander 3rd. Then running in 4th, that is Amy Wilderotter. 5th is Billy Kidd. 6th, Allison Rain. 7th, David Byers. 8th, Kyler Anderson. 9th is Stephen Wallace Jr. and Nelson Reeves completes the top 10. Let's go a little bit further back in the field. There's Nathan Stapleton and that number 28 under pressure here from Easton Myers in the 38. Stapleton comes into this race 11th in the point standings, so just outside of the top 10 by 4 points under Mitchell Collins in the 32. Easton Myers, which I did mention when we went over points, is 9th on the standings. So, trouble for our runner-up in the standings, Tyler Ferris. He had just slapped the wall pretty good just on the exit of turn number 4. Man, that was definitely not what he wanted at all. So right now, looks like our only points chaser that is actually doing really good right now. I mean, the best performing driver so far in points is David Byers. Per the mishap with qualifying, with the technical difficulties with qualifying, he currently right now is 7th. So this is, I mean, in some strange way, it benefits David Byers. This really benefits him a lot. Right now, still running in 7th. Everybody just buying their time, running single file, knowing that there really isn't much to gain in this race early on in the 75 lapper. Looks like Noah Clifton's been in the wall, as here comes our winner from Las Vegas. That is Addison Jarrell trying to get underneath Noah Clifton, trying to force him into making a mistake. So far, really hasn't been able to get the job done when it comes to that retrospect. Ferris went way wide off the corner. And there's our winner from Daytona at the very beginning of the season, Ryan Fowler. Right now, Fowler currently sits, I missed it here, 28th in the race. Jarrell is 30th right now. And Tyler Ferris is 31st. So obviously, lots of troubles here for a lot of our top point contenders, our top championship contenders, with the exception of Byers, whom, as I said, really strangely benefits from this, from the qualifying technical difficulties. So Quentin Moore still in command. He is dominating this race like there is no tomorrow. Ronald House still in second. Nothing really has changed. So right now he's already clinched the bonus point for leading a lap. I believe if he leads past lap 37, I want to say, then he would have clinched the bonus point for leading the most laps. The 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. Looks like Jimmy Hogan has already gotten into the wall. So pretty laid back action here at the Martinsville Speedway. Not a lot of action. I mean, I think a lot of it has already been dealt with early in the race when drivers were just trying to mind their own P's and Q's. Well, not just mind their own P's and Q's, but try to gain as many spots as they could before getting into a single file formation. But so far, I mean, these drivers are just really buying their time. Steven Alexander, after getting a win at Phoenix, just really, after that win, he has really struggled to stay inside of the top 10 in the standings. He is, throughout the whole season up to this point, he has fallen all the way down to 29th on the charts in the points standings. So a third place finish would definitely benefit him in more ways than one, because if he finishes in the top 5, I think it might move him up probably, I want to say, maybe inside of the top 25 in the standings, maybe a little bit further up, maybe inside of the top 20. I know I'm probably shooting a little bit too far here, but I know Sean Ard, he went into Watkins Glen 31st. Let's see if I can find Sean Ard. There he is. He went into Watkins Glen 31st in the point standings and had to put on a dominating performance there and won. And that moved him up inside of the top 20. So, I mean, you never really know. I mean, this race really could benefit somebody like Steven Alexander, who's just had himself a very dismal and very struggling, very dismal season that was just full of struggles after his win at Phoenix earlier this year. So, just something to really point out here in this race. And we are already closing in on halfway here. Just within another 10 laps or so, we'll be halfway through this race. And Quentin Moore, nothing's changed. Nothing really has changed inside of the top 10. He has led every single lap, and this top 10 really has not changed at all. There really hasn't been any battles throughout the whole field. This race is just looks like this race is just going to be kind of like that very calm sprint to the finish, and then once Chicago comes around on October 8th, all hell's going to break loose. I mean, you never know. You never know. So, right now, let's take a look and see where everybody's at. Looks like Tyler Ferris is still 31st, and Addison Jarrell is still 30th. A lot of our points chasers they're just really buying their time. Everybody is just kind of just back here minding their own P's and Q's, nothing really to worry about. So a lot of them are really just trying to get this race out of the way and in the most cleanest way possible. Unless if a caution comes out, then we might have ourselves a pretty good race on our hands, but so far looks like that may not happen if these drivers keep it up here for these next 35 laps or so. But yeah, not really a whole lot to miss. not really a whole lot to miss in this race. Owen Miles, it looks like he has already moved up to, it looks like he's as far up as the 24th position. I don't really know if any positions have really changed at this point, and because all these drivers are just really buying their time, minding their own P's and Q's, not really anything to worry about right now, because these drivers are just really buying their time. Like I said, these drivers are really just trying to, from the looks of it, just trying to get done with this race. That way they can just move on to Chicagoland, where it's the last race of the season, and a lot of our our contenders that are not in the championship battle have nothing to lose at all. So maybe it could be that. Maybe it's something else. I honestly do not have a clue. But other than that, it looks like these drivers are just, looks like they're just going to try to finish this race under green and just move on. Move on to the final race of the season at Chicagoland. I mean, it's not really a bad thing. It just, it's not really giving the fans their money's worth, but at the same time, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I can't really do much about it now, because even I just want to get this race done, so that way we can move on to the final race of the season. So let's go ahead and let's see. So Quentin Moore coming through the corners. I think he's already clinched the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. I mean, this race is turning out very eerily similar to Stafford. I mean, Stafford Motor Speedway, I mean, we were over there for a little while, and I mean, really, that race turned out to be caution-free. Well, not really caution-free. There were 2 yellow flags that involved, I believe, the same people, Billy Kidd and also Mitchell Collins. But other than that, I mean, that race was relatively clean, and it was a dominating performance by Jimmy Hogan, who currently right now is running in last place. Not something that Jimmy Hogan wanted. I mean, especially since he is 6th on the points right now. But the driver who, like I said at the very beginning of the race, the driver who is benefiting the most out of this in the most strangest way is David Byers, who started outside pole, and after smacking the wall on lap 1, has fallen all the way back to 7th, and that is where he has been ever since. Kyler Anderson. Let's talk about Kyler Anderson here for a little bit. Kyler Anderson right now comes into this race 28th on the charts, and Kyler's had himself some pretty good performances as of late, and unfortunately, it really hasn't done a whole lot for him in the standings. The numbers aren't really backing up some of the good performances that he's been having, but I mean, this race for sure is really gonna help him. Probably move up, maybe inside the top 25 in the standings. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure yet, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens here in these final 30 or so laps coming up here. Stephen Wallace Jr. has been going pretty wide through turns 3 and 4. I think the grip on these tires are starting to wear off a little bit. But other than that, I mean, not really a lot is happening here in this race, and everybody is kind of still sitting where they are right now. It looks like we could, I don't know, but we might have ourselves a battle for second on our hands. I mean, with Steven Alexander and Ronald House. Looked like Alexander was closing in a little bit on Ronald House, and now Ronald pulls away by just a little bit more. Going through turns 3 and 4. 30 laps to go this time, 29, as Quentin Moore leads yet another lap here in the 75 lapper. Not a lot really has changed at all. Let's go ahead and touch on Allison Rain here a little bit. Allison Rain here with a really nice looking Ally paint scheme that she's ran all year, and definitely is going to be returning that. Probably somewhere else. I mean, you never really know. You never know. This paint scheme could pop up somewhere else. But other than that, I mean, Allison Rain has just had herself that type of roller coaster season where she'll do pretty good at one race and then unfortunately wreck in another. I mean, obviously the worst crash above everything, above all the other wrecks, has been Talladega, where she went flipping. She flipped pretty aggressive, pretty bad at Talladega when she went side over side, end over end, and ultimately, I mean, from there, I mean, she has had some pretty good races. I mean, she's had some good races here and there. Other than that, I mean, she's kind of had herself kind of a roller coaster of a season, but it's really good to see Allison Rain up at the front, near the front of the field, just knocking on the door of a top 5, and for the most part, she really has been doing a good job in this race, and chances are she could move up a little bit more in the standings, and maybe go to Chicagoland and win there. I mean, you never know. You just never know. We're inside of 25 laps to go, and everybody right now is just, everybody from the looks of things are just 0.4 of a second apart from each other. Everybody's pretty much close, but everybody is also just 0.4 of a second apart. 3 to 4/10 of a second apart until you get back over here where David Byers is nearly a full second behind Allison Rain. Really, nothing has really changed. I mean, Ronald House has gained a little bit just by 3/100ths, but not really a huge difference maker in this race. We're closing in on 20 to go. Quentin Moore has just put on a clinic here in the Kroger 200, dominating every single lap thus far, and looks like if nothing else changes, he's going to be en route to that. It's now down to 1/3 of a second between House and Moore. Let's see what the deficit is here. It's cut down by another 2/100ths. But at this point, Ronald House is starting to run out of time, and he's running out of time pretty quickly here, so he's got to do something. He's getting ever so closer by the slightest, and it looks like he just lost a 100th by lost an 100th to Quentin Moore, who is still putting on just an absolutely dominating performance at Martinsville. And let's see what the gap is. Still the same. Still the same. Nothing really has changed. We're closing in on 15 to go this time around. We're getting closer to 15 to go. Gap still has remained unchanged. Let's just take a look at where everybody's running right now. Everybody's still pretty much in the same spots. Top 10 really has not changed at all. And Ronald House has just gained that 100th back. Let's see if he can cut it down a little bit more. So we're going to switch to the aerial view for this one. We've been stuck on one camera throughout the whole race, pretty much. He just gained another 100th. He's getting closer. These drivers are starting to go into the corners a little bit higher than what they were at the beginning of the race, just from the looks of things. And they just kind of diamond the turns 3 and 4. And pretty much, I mean, that's what they're doing. They're just going through 1 and 2 pretty smoothly here, and then once they get to turns 3 and 4, they just kind of drive a little bit wide through 4, then they diamond the corner once they reach turn 4, and See what the gap is here. House lost 2 100ths not too long ago, and the gap still remains unchanged. Gap pretty much remains unchanged right here, but as they come off of 4, heading back to the start-finish line, he's gained, House has gained those 2 100ths back as they hit the back straightaway. Nothing really has changed here. Coming up to 10 to go. Next time around. So it's 64 laps complete. House has gained 4 100ths. He's getting ever so closer, but look at that acceleration off the corner there for Quentin Moore. Gets on the brakes pretty aggressively, and that's what's enabling Ronald House to close in ever so slightly, but yet again, that acceleration really is paying off for Quentin Moore, but not by much. House is starting to close in. He's closing in ever so slightly. Oh, but he went a little bit wide to that corner. Ronald House went pretty wide. Still a third of a second. Now coming up to a quarter of a second. We're inside of 10 to go. Anything is possible at this point. Into turn 3. House is going really wide. That may hurt him. That may hurt him. It did a little bit. Lost a 100th there to Quentin Moore. Once he went wide through the corner, he can't do that. If he wants to win this race, he's got to stay in Quentin Moore's line. That's exactly what he did, but it looks like he got a little bit squirrely off the corner, and Quentin Moore is opening that gap back up. Now a little bit over a third of a second. That acceleration really is starting to pay off, and looks like that may be the closest that he may get. Battle for third now. Amy Wilderauer trying to take a peek underneath of Steven Alexander. Nothing there. Can't get it done. Looks like this may be a 3-horse fight for second if they're able to get side by side. Other than that, this is Quentin Moore's race to lose. Wilderauer goes wide through the corner. Here they come, 5 to go. Things are starting to get a little bit heated here. Wilderauer is still going to retain the 4th position. She tried to get 3rd away from Steven Alexander, wasn't able to make it work. And now coming through to 4 to go. Still a third of a second. Still a third of a second. Trying. Ronald House is just trying everything he can to get around this number 0 of Quentin Moore. 3 laps to go. Now under a third of a second. Is Ronald House saving something for the last lap? House is right there. He just needs to make something happen. But you can't make something happen if you take that corner really wide. All that's going to do is going to help Quentin Moore just by a little bit. 2 to go. I think Ronald House may have just run out of time. As they come around through turn number 4. This time, the white flag is going to fall on the number 0 of Quentin Moore. 1 more lap to go. Quentin Moore, from the looks of things, is going to lead every single lap here at Martinsville. And coming off the final corner, Quentin Moore is going to win a dominating performance here in Martinsville. Quentin Moore wins in convincing fashion. And boy, oh boy, this is going to help David Byers. He came into this race 5th in the standings, 29 points back and he finished 7th, so this may propel him back to the points lead. So let's see where Addison Jarrell, and yeah, 30th, 31st, 28th for Ryan Fowler. Yeah, this is definitely going to help him. This is going to help David Byers, and this is going to move him back into the points lead. Quentin Moore is a victor, finally. His first win of the season here in the Pepsi Amateur Series, in the most dominating performance since Stafford when Jimmy Hogan won it. He's your winner. Ronald House 2nd, Stephen Alexander 3rd, Amy Wilderotter coming home in the 4th position. A really good performance for Amy Wilderotter once again, taking home another top 5. Speaking of, Billy Kidd rounds out the top 5. Allison Rain, great job for her to finish in the 6th position. David Byers, whom, as I said, most likely is going to be back in the points lead once we head to the final race of the season at Chicagoland. He comes home 7th, Kyler Anderson 8th, Stephen Wallace Jr. 9th, and Nelson Reeves rounds out the top 10. You'll take a look at positions 11th through 34. My goodness, we're going to have ourselves a true battle in the points. Once you see what the point standings look like, once this is done and over with, things are gonna be pretty interesting. I will tell you that. I will tell you that. Because, I mean, the chances are Byers is gonna have himself a pretty decent, at least somewhat of a decent gap over everybody else, who most likely are going to be championship contenders. Drivers like Tyler Ferris, Addison Jarrell, Ryan Fowler, Carter Joey most likely is gonna be one. So drivers like them, chances are they're going to be championship contenders come Chicagoland in October. So this championship battle, man, is getting spicy, and I love it. I love it. This is a great way to reach the final race of the season. And speaking of the last race of the season, like I said, it is going to be at the Chicagoland Speedway. See if I can get the race name up. The Axalta 150. That will be on October 8th, which I believe, if I look at my calendar here, that is a Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully you guys are able to make it out to the final race of the season and just enjoy some good championship points racing. So this should be great. And that's going to do it from our coverage here at the Martinsville Speedway. I want to thank you guys a lot for watching one more time. Congratulations to our winner, Quentin Moore, from the pole, and never looked back. Similar performance to Stafford, like I said before. So anyways, congratulations to Quentin Moore on getting his first win of the season. And here's your look at your point standings after Martinsville. One more race to go, and that is going to be at the Chicagoland Speedway. I can't wait. I cannot wait. It's going to be fun once we get to October 8th in 2 more weeks. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you guys at Chicagoland for the championship race of the RCOM Pepsi Amateur Series. Good night, everybody.